What's going on, folks? My apologies tonight for the poor camera quality. I'm outside and I'm traveling out of town, so I don't have the best setup right now. But yeah, it what happened happened. You know. And again, be sure to leave a comment. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel as well. Again, my apologies for those that are watching. I'm out of town and traveling, so I don't have the best video quality, but hopefully you guys can see me, or if you're driving and you're listening, you can at least still listen. Still send in your thoughts and opinions, of course. But yeah, 56-14 final, Florida Atlantic beats FAMU. Now, there were some good things and there were some not so good things, of course. The good thing is, FAMU finally scored in 2025. The bad is, of course, you ran into an air raid offense that basically ran circles around you, and now your goal is obviously, take the very few good that came out of this game tonight, and you take it and you apply it to next week when you go play Albany State. Now, as far as numbers goes, and the quarterbacks, so Jet Petty, 1 of 17 for 5 yards. His average was 0.7. RJ Johnson, 18 of 28, 222 yards, 7.9 on average, 2 TDs. Look, I'll say this. RJ Johnson did earn the right to start next week. He did. He earned the right to start. Now, again, I do think next week we may see both quarterbacks. And let's also be honest here, too. This was probably the fastest and the best team that FAMU will play all season long. It is. Because there's nobody in this conference is going to run an air raid offense. Nobody in this conference is going to, or even for that matter in HBCU football, is showing that type of consistency, that kind of effort, every play, every snap. No, I'm sorry. I don't care who you throw out there. Nobody's showing what Florida Atlantic showed tonight. It's just not. It's not happening. But at the same time, also let's see, rushing yards stat: Franklin 11 carries, 58 yards. Jamal Haley, who I thought played a good game tonight, 5 carries, 22 yards. Bo Somerset, 3 carries, 4 yards. Thought he had more. I'm surprised. As far as receiving goes, Jordan Edwards, who flashed in a big way tonight, 2 receptions, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Betty's not ready. RJ is our quarterback. And I think you'll see both next week. I'm leaning, but I definitely do think that you will see RJ start, of course, and depending on how he plays next week, I think will determine what happens going forward. But I will say the one thing that I've taken away from this is this team starts very slow. I'm noticing, and for some reason, this or that, like they tend to come out in the second half playing better football, and playing in this conference and just playing ball overall, you can't do that because slow starts get you beat. You just can't. Now, the thing is, what I hope I'm seeing too is, and I hope we're all seeing it, is RJ growing with every passing week. But to say also too that Jet is not ready either, I don't know about all that yet. I don't know, because he did have a nice little command of under center there for a hot second. He did. For RJ though, they schemed up a couple of nice plays, to get guys in open space, to get guys in one-on-one matchups, and wide receivers won their one-on-one matchups. The other thing too that you saw tonight was you saw Maud Burris get involved. You saw Jordan Edwards get involved. It is. This is very true too. The game is starting to slow down for RJ, and the beautiful thing about tonight is, like I said earlier, this is the fastest team that you will play this season. Just like, again, referring back to the last 2 years, Miami was the best team on the schedule last year. USF who picked up a very impressive win tonight, by the way, was the best team that Celebration Bowl team played in 2023. So again, tonight you saw another fast Florida team that is, in my opinion, the best team that you're going to see the rest of the way. But again, the slow starts have to stop, and there needs to be an emphasis on starting faster when this team plays Albany State next week. You have to. But I do think, yeah, they were very dynamic. And again, that's what the air raid offense is. You again, and credit to Zach Kitley. The man he's one key piece along with Cliff Kingsbury who helped develop Patrick Mahomes. What's the air raid designed to do? And people wonder, why can't, they're going pedal to the metal? So people are wondering, FAU might score 70 tonight. That's what the air raid is. Patrick Mahomes wasn't putting up 700 yards against Baker in Oklahoma, but still losing for nothing. Zach Kitley has an idea of what he wants to do. He wants to score as many points as possible, rack up as many yards as possible. That's basically what we watched from the Big 12 for much of the 2010s and into the early 2020s. What you saw tonight was Big 12 football on display at its finest. And it calls for dynamic plays. The other thing, too, is that number 8 for Florida Atlantic, Easton Messer, that kid's a heck of a player also. As well, too, I'm surprised Kenari Wilcher only got 1 reception tonight for 9 yards. I didn't even think he got any. But, I would like to see with RJ, I would like to see him throw the ball downfield to more of his playmakers, so to say. And I get it. He drew a couple penalties and stuff with pass interference. Should have got more calls, honestly, on both sides of the football. There was a call where they missed that resulted in a touchdown where they were holding Brian Norris. There was a pass interference call that they didn't call. There's certain elements to this game too. But again, when you get down by a certain amount of points, I get it. Referees aren't going to throw those flags. So again, I know some people, they look at it, and the first half was atrocious. It absolutely was. And a lot of people are saying, this team is horrible. This team is the worst. Fire Colsey, do this, do that. I get it. You're upset because we expect to win every game. But at the same time, too, my unbiased opinion, I'm going to be real. I didn't expect them to win tonight. The mobility factor alone is the reason we should go with RJ. Also, our special teams coach should be left in Boca. He changed nothing but the dumb alignment. We did. And he did. It's retreating his line. Yeah, no, I wish they would. Honestly, stop with this way that they line up that protection on punt. That needs to change mightily. Because, again, and we saw it last week. I've been saying it. O&G Strike Zone said it too. When you line up like that and the way they lined up against Howard, I was like, look, a team with good athletes is going to block that 9 times out of 10. It's not a slight against Howard, but it's Florida Atlantic's got 10 times better athletes than what Howard had. So, maybe it stops here, but that alignment has to change. You have to do something because then the urgency. The one thing I will give kudos to too is the urgency FAU played with, as far as getting after punts and trying to block punts. Because that's how you're supposed to go on special teams. It has to be full speed every time. And, on FAMUs, you saw it, but you didn't see it. And also kudos to Jason Riles, who at linebacker tonight was all over the field. This team's down at one point, 46 to 7, and he's still out there flying around trying to make plays. He's still out there busting his butt. You can't do anything but tip your hat to him, And I know it has to suck, but you know what? That's what scouts want to see. Scouts want to see guys who were busting their butt, trying to make plays, trying to give that effort when you're already down and out of the fight, when you've been taken out of your misery already. That's what scouts want to see. Wow. Also, it is interesting tonight, too. FAMU did win the time of possession, 30 minutes and 15 seconds to 29 minutes and 45 seconds, which you would never have thought based off of how this game went. But again, 6 penalties tonight, just different amount of yards, 52 yards tonight. But again, you had 6 penalties last week. And the difference is as well, 2 penalties for 15 yards from Florida Atlantic tonight. Again, 6 penalties is a low number, but you have to be more consistent. You have to play cleaner football. 2 penalties versus 6 penalties, that's the difference in winning and losing games. So do with that what you will. Also, again tonight, remember, we came into this game talking about how FAMU was 5 of 16 last week on third down. What happens tonight? 5 of 16 again on third down. You can't win games like that. So something has to change. I'm glad that this team was able to get 2 touchdowns up on the board, but you got to change as far as third down. There has to be a different type of approach, different type of creativity on third down. 5 of 16 is not going to cut it. But I will say, too, Florida Atlantic fared no better. They were 5 of 13 on third down. So do with that what you may as well, too. Also, 16 first downs tonight to Florida Atlantic's 34. Again, they took advantage in certain areas where FAMU didn't take advantage of. And, it comes with, scanning the field and understanding. Now, mind you, the opportunities, again, were there tonight, but RJ is a kid that played high school ball not too long ago, has not had any high school or college experience up until last week. So you're going to have these growing pains. Now, the thing I will say, and again, Bishop Bonnet said it Tuesday night as well, he's going to have to grow up quick, man, because boy, oh boy, you can't do those things. You can't have only 16 first downs when you get in conference play. You can't be 5 of 16 on third down in conference play. That number needs to be 10 to 13 out of 16. All right. I'm happy to say I think you're right. Oh, no, not at all. And, yeah, we will see next week, honestly. Quinn Gray is going to come in motivated. Yeah. Yeah, Quinn Gray's going to come in motivated next week. I know they scored like 50 tonight against whoever they played tonight. But, again, different style of game. Speed's different, So this was a good challenge for what the coaches needed to see. It was a good teaching aspect of film. I will say, too, that when you look at the punting game as well, too, for FAMU, I'm going to get to that. But yeah, when you look at the punting aspect for FAMU and you see when Florida Atlantic rushed every time, I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the neighborhood of, sell that, and then maybe you can draw a penalty to some degree, and then it results in an automatic first down. Because there were times when Florida Atlantic would get close, they wouldn't block it, but they would still hit him. But Daniel Porto wouldn't go down. He would still stay up. If you go down, who knows? Maybe that's the difference between changing possession and flipping the field and maybe, getting an automatic first down and the change keep moving. So who knows? Let's see where we at. I'll be there as well too. So there will not be a post-game recap next week, but I do agree. They should win by at least 3 touchdowns. That's a game that you got to get. And it ain't going to be easy because, again, Quinn Gray is going to have his team motivated. He's going back to his alma mater. He probably feels like he should be next in line to get the job. And he probably feels he should have been somebody that could, get the job when Willie Simmons left. I do remember him saying, when Willie Simmons was hired and they were looking for somebody after Alex Wood was let go, he did admit he wasn't ready yet to take the job. But again, things change with time. He probably feels now he wants that job. And if you're Colsey and this staff, oh, you need to cut it loose next week. Don't save anything for conference play. Don't save anything for Alabama State and Valley. No. Show something on film and then go into your bye week, get healed up, and get ready to play your conference games. That's how you got to approach this. You need to go out there, make a statement, lick your wounds, get healed up, get right, correct what was wrong, and praise what you did right, and get ready for your second home game against Alabama State. So I think they'll be able to do what Colsey wants and run. They can't run against Albany air attack all year. Yeah. I mean, I think they'll still be able to run the ball efficiently because, again, I think that the two run defenses you saw here in the last 2 weeks are better than Albany. I know the one you saw tonight is definitely better than Albany State, but I do think that you should have more success with your air attack. You played by SWAC standards, you played an elite secondary. I had to find the words to say that. You played an elite defense by the standards of your conference. You played an elite secondary tonight. And the secondary you saw tonight is nothing compared to the secondary you're going to see next week. Yeah, no, exactly. And that Albany State game is going to tell everything it needs to tell about how the rest of the season is going to go. Right now, I mean, you're 0-2. You wish you could be 1-1 at this point. You should have been 1-1 at this point. But, this is just the hand you've been dealt. You need to come out strong next week and then maybe make people feel a little bit better about when Andrew Body and Alabama State come to town. And I agree, Ashton. I'm still not happy either because there were some things that I felt like were missed tonight. Defensively, there were some misplays. There were. Defensively, I felt like the secondary in some aspects let Florida Atlantic out-athlete them and make the play and be superior versus imposing your will. And that comes from, I feel like, oh, well, it's Florida Atlantic. Oh, my gosh. Instead of saying, like, no, you know what? Like, I'm just as good as that guy. Let's go. Let's try to make a play. Let's make something happen. But, offensively, of course, again, first half, I think I can speak for everybody when I say, RJ Johnson, when holding on to the ball for too long pissed a lot of people off. But then, letting Jet only get 2 series on offense as well, I think that pissed a lot of people off too. But, again, scoring in the second half and finding a rhythm in the second half was a bright spot. You wish that is something that they do in the first half. I've heard some things about that. EA, the details I'm not going to say on camera, but I've heard about that, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. I'll say that. If you want to, we can talk off air, maybe on social media somewhere about that. But from what I've heard, that's not a good. It's not a good situation. So Bama State, right, is really who everyone has to worry about. I mean, yeah. I mean, but again, this offense compared to Alabama State, this offense is better. You're going to have to, and Cam McThompson and Colsey are going to have to devise a plan to stop him. Because, again, I mean, I think if I had to compare, that's Kyler Murray of the SWAC right now. The way he plays, his ability to run, his ability to throw, and you have to account for both of them. And the way that this team has looked, offensively, if you get into a shootout, can you hang with Alabama State? If they start scoring and racking up points, can you hang with them offensively? That's my question mark right now. The defense, I'm not so much worried about, as far as stopping him. It's, how long can the defense maintain getting stops? If let's say if this defense gives up 17 to Alabama, or not 17, let's say if this offense or defense gives up 17 to Alabama State, 20. Do we have enough confidence in our offense, in the FAMU offense, to go out there and go score 21 or 24? That's what you have to think about. If they score 20, do we have enough confidence in our offense that they can go out there and go score 24 and respond and win the game? That's what I'm worried about right now. This has always happened with our best players. Yeah, man, again, one thing with that is with life, you can only control what you can control. Look, my thing is always this. I leave my house, I do what I have to do, and then I come home. There's no need for me to be out there and be flashy. Or for example, my parents always told me there's nothing good out there after 11 o'clock at night. So I understand. There we go. That's the same. Sheesh. And I think a lot of it doesn't stem from tonight, Hitman. A lot of it stems from last week. Because, again, I posed the question to all 48 of you watching. If we end up in a situation where we are in a shootout with Alabama State, do we have enough confidence in our offense that we can score 24 points if they score 20? It's a serious question. Yep. We just started with 2 games and yet everyone is not on the same page already. We lose to Albany, our locker room will be divided. So, and again, I don't think they're going to lose to Albany. I think they can beat Albany. Because again, you should. They found some rhythm there at the end that makes you feel confident about next week. For me, it's you need to figure this out after the bye week or into the bye week, and then get it rolling. So there's a lot that's going to have to be adjusted still. The only thing is it's such a headache. It'd be so easy and it would be so nice if they could have just rolled out and, taken advantage of what Howard gave them and won the game and put up 30 points like they could have. And then tonight, take advantage of what was there. I agree, Hitman, with everything you just said. We're not going to lose to Albany. I don't think we will. We're not. But that is true. If it's like a 24, even if it's a 10-point victory, if it's like a 24-14 type win, 27-17, I think that seat does get hot. Because Albany State is a team you should run out of the stadium. There is no reason why Albany State should even be remotely challenging. None at all. I'll go even further. That's a team that should not even be on the field with you. You should run them out. But, again, based on what we've seen the past 2 weeks, you kind of got to hold your breath. You have to. Ashton, I got you. I understand what you mean, man. I understand. But, again, Colsey's seat is hot. It's not boiling right now, but it is simmering. Like, there's little air bubbles building right now. It's not a hard boil, but it's a nice little simmer. It's about as hot as a hot tub is right now. But it can get a whole lot hotter. So, again, we'll see. All right, a few score updates before we do, wrap up tonight and everything. We appreciate the comments and everything. So Iowa State beats Iowa 16-13. North Dakota State 59-3 over Tennessee State in Nashville. Kansas goes down 31-42 against Missouri. Ole Miss wins in Lexington 30-23. Oregon takes down Oklahoma State 69-3. USF with a huge win. Oh my God. Yeah, Billy Napier's not making it out of Jacksonville. USF 18-16 over Florida. And then of course tonight FAMU goes down 56-14. Alabama State, last I checked, looking at the score, up 23-7 in the third quarter. Michigan actually trails 21-7 right now against Oklahoma. And then last I checked as well in the third quarter, Montana State 20, South Dakota State 17 in the third quarter. All right. Some players aren't. You know, he has got a point. I'm gonna be like that's a true point. And again, Kevin Elliott, Bishop, and I, we talked about that Tuesday night last week or earlier this week about the energy on the sideline, needing to be picked up. Guys, as soon as they see that deficit or as soon as they see adversity, not staying in there, not staying locked in, not staying truly focused. There not being enough juice on the sideline. That's something that has to change, because heaven forbid, and it wouldn't shock me, at some point, if we're down by 10 points again this season, you got to still stay locked in. You got to still stay in the fight. You can't automatically go in the foxhole because, oh no, we're down by 10. Oh no, we're down by this much. How can we climb out of this hole? No, you can't do that. You got to stay locked in. You got to keep battling, because there was a problem in the Orange Blossom Classic, and you saw a little bit of it tonight. Now, the good thing about tonight is they came out swinging in the second half, and they got 2 touchdowns through the air. That needs to carry over to next week. We need to see more confidence being built. And we need to see, again, and funny enough, it was actually one of the keys to victory, get the ball to your playmakers and find some consistency on offense. And the main word there is consistency. Find consistency on this offense and go into the bye week. Another key to victory that was not had was creativity with blitz packages. I didn't really see much blitzing, for that matter. They tried it in bits and pieces here and there, but not to the full effect that I thought it was going to be. And, it happens. Yeah, on to next week. The other one was get out healthy. I saw one injury. I think it was Corey Collier Jr. That was it. So, but for the most part, I think I saw everybody get out healthy. We always believed we had a guy that could get us back in games. They don't believe that this year. And I was hoping that was going to be Jalen Rogers. That was going to be like that guy you could go to, late in games that could make a play for you. Now, again, granted, he made one in the Orange Blossom Classic that got you into the red zone. But tonight it was I was waiting for Jalen Rogers to have this amazing game where he was going to make plays all over the field and, show out. But I look at Jalen Rogers' play tonight, and it's all these drops, muffing a punt, but he still held on to it. So you need to see more consistency out of him, because it goes back to what Coach Prime says at Colorado. It's if you're going to wear single digits, you got to show that you're the guy, or you're that one guy that stands out above the rest. But so far, it's been, tonight was inconsistent for him. Can you still play the first 3 games or less and get in the portal? Ooh, that's actually a good question. I need to look that up. Let's see. How many games can you play and be able to get in the portal? How many games can a college football player play and still be able to get in the portal? All All right, so it's not really giving me anything here. It's not really giving me anything. I'll have to look back into that because I'm not too sure about that rule. Because again, that's an ever revolving door nowadays with the way that they're trying to like limit the amount of people getting in the portal, but then they're trying to like open different windows and stuff and periods and everything. Like that's so confusing now. But that's actually a good question. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna have to save that one. But great question, EA. But again, I'd like to see more consistency out of Jalen Rogers going forward. Okay, here we go. Can't go in the portal until it opens in January. You can redshirt if you don't play in more than 4 games. Interesting. Okay, got it. That's good to know. So yeah, a lot of these guys, they're going to play more than 4 games. Yeah, a lot of these guys are going to play more than 4 games. So I'm glad that they've gotten a hold on that, though, as far as like restricting when guys can get in the portal. So that means, all right, the season ends, Florida Classic, November 22nd. Celebration Bowl would be December 13th. So these guys still would have a while before they can even enter the portal, depending on when the season ends, if they want to get out of here and go somewhere else. So, okay, interesting. They may need to do that and save their season for another team. Yeah, and it's possible, and it won't just be FAMU guys that do that. It's going to be, because I'm sure there's a couple thousand players still in the portal, and we're already 3 weeks into the college football season, and then not to mention too, like the guys that are already in there, plus the guys that are going to get in there after this season is over and concludes. So again, it's a mess. That is a mess. You just keep on piling. You're piling sand on top of sand, essentially, and it's not a good look. But again, kids are running from competition these days. It's crazy. Between looking at kids already saying like, I don't know why I came to the University of Florida because they lost to USF tonight and everything. So I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess. But with that, I do not. Yes, that's also true, Coach T. All the COVID era kids are done this year finally, which is crazy to believe. Golly, that was 5 years ago. Golly. But with that being said, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Great discussion tonight. Again, I know this isn't tonight's not the result everybody wanted, but again, it's only 2 games in the season. Hope for better next week. Expect better next week. I'm expecting a win next week. But as always, make sure y'all tune in Tuesday night to the Rattler Roundup podcast with me and Bishop Bonnet. I believe we may have Ryan Stanley on for the first half of the show. We're definitely going to have Thing Exchange on Tuesday night. And then, of course, be sure to tune into the Run and Gun podcast Wednesday night as well. We'll basically, put this one to bed also and then get ready for essentially week 3 of the season. So tune in for that. And then, of course, we'll be right back here next week, sometime Saturday. Don't know yet. For Countdown to Kickoff, talking FAMU and Albany State. So thank you so much. All of you guys, Hitman, Coach T, EA, Ashton, Kevin Talley, Kylan, all of you guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys and all 60 of you watching the channel. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Donate to Fang Exchange, those of you watching as well, before we get out of here tonight. I want to make that clear as well. But yes, stay safe, stay blessed. We will see you Tuesday night